Alaman din.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever or whenever you may be. This is the overnight. I am DM Foss, and so far we've got Gizzard Gary. How's it going, Gary?
It's going pretty good. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you being here. Where am Oh, hey, we got a banner. We can get the banner going. At the bottom of the screen is a banner with an email address on tacticalfoss@gmail.com. You can send in comments, suggestions, or pictures within reason. And there's a link for the Discord server. It's a place to hang out, chit chat. You can share pictures there or memes or get a hold of me or pretty much anybody else that comes on the chat. You can get a hold of them too if you want to. And so far out there, Hillbilly was there. I think he's got to be up early, so he might not be out there too long. Gizzard Gary, Vulcan Rumble is here. Mr. Bob Dabalina. And 2 Live Moo. That's everybody so far that said something. Oop, there we go. So let me make sure I got everything up and going like I needed to. There we go. So thought we'd touch on the Ninth Circuit ruling that just came out, and it's a little confusing, having to do with sensitive places. There's 2 cases, one out of Hawaii and one out of California. And they're dealing with where you can carry the so-called sensitive places. And I'm not sure where it's a little confusing for me is this had to do with the lower court. They're ruling on the lower court's injunction, a 3-judge panel, and the way the Four Boxes Diner talked about it is it's not the end of the case, but when you look at anybody else that talks about it, they talk about it like this was the ruling. Excuse me. So I'm not exactly sure if the Ninth Circuit is going to do anything else. It's kind of odd because Mark Smith of the Four Boxes Diner, he was saying that the litigants should not try to go to the Supreme Court right away because it would be an interlocutory, which means it's still being tried. And the Supreme Court tends not to take those cases. They want it to be fully heard before it gets to them. And then he also said not to ask for an en banc, which would mean all the judges vote on it. So that's where, for me, it's a little confusing if the Ninth Circuit is still going to do something with this, or if this is the ruling. Because everybody else talks about it like this is the ruling. But basically, they said there was a long list that Hawaii and California put into law where you cannot carry. And the Ninth Circuit ruling removes some of those from that list, but keeps some of those. And were you able to find a full list of everything, Gary?
On the Hawaii one? Or period?
Period.
I haven't looked any further since we started the show, but let me dig and see what I can find.
And there's, between the two cases, there's conflicting ruling. Well, the way it works out, it's conflicting, but within it, yeah, I don't know, it's confusing because both Hawaii and California, as a part of their laws, put that you could not carry on private property unless you had the prior permission from the owner of the property. In the California case, that was thrown out. But in the Hawaii case, it was left in. So to me, that's conflicting law, but I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. But just trying to go from memory. That you still cannot carry places that serve alcohol, like bars, or in the parking lot, zoos, I wish. So here's a partial list. California can enforce bans in casinos, libraries, zoos, stadiums, and museums. And that extends to their parking lots. It threw out financial institutions, government building parking lots where it's adjacent to public parking, something like that. And I'm thinking there's one other one. At least one other. I know there was a little longer list, but I don't recall what it is. And it's really hard to find a set list
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find, other than watching a YouTube video, which don't want to do.
Yeah, I know Four Boxes Diner has it within his video, but I'm not sure where in his video it was.
I mean, I found the entire text of the ruling, but you'd be all day reading that stuff.
So, sensitive place. This is reading from. I found it in Four Boxes Diner's video. Sensitive places the court found acceptable under 2A: bars and restaurants serving alcohol, beaches, parks, and similar locations, playgrounds and youth centers, athletic facilities, casinos and gambling establishments, stadiums and arenas, public libraries, zoos and museums, and then what they call the vampire rule, where you have to be invited in, where you have to get permission. That only applies to Hawaii. And parking areas related to places where guns are validly banned. And I thought he had the list of the stuff that was overturned. He might have just talked about it. But I know they threw out hospitals. And I don't recall what else. There's all the stories that when I was trying to find them quickly before the chat, all the stories I found will touch on some of them, but they don't give the full list. So it's kind of a mixed bag ruling. Mr. Bob said, Mr. Bob Davalina, I think the big problem is that the Ninth wrote a 60-page ruling on a mooted case. Mooted cases can't be heard by SCOTUS. And what I mean by thrown out is they can't be enforced by the state if that part was thrown out. So some good news, some bad news, and I'm not sure what's going to happen with the case. Again, because I'm not sure exactly where in that process this case is. But for now, that's where it stands, I guess.
Sounds kind of infringing to me.
Well, yeah. And then with the conflicting rulings with the vampire rule, I don't know. I don't understand how they let that go.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, there was probably two different sets of judges. I don't know if they were both heard at the same time. They were combined, or if these were heard separately.
That's what I'm not clear on. Is it all the same thing? Or surely not.
If it was heard at the same, if they were combined and heard, I cannot conceive of how they could rule differently on the two that way. If they were heard by two different panels, and I can kind of see that. But the second panel, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It all does not make sense to me.
So what happens from here?
I don't, like I said, I don't know. The Second Amendment Foundation said they're going to keep fighting. I think they were addressing the California case. Said that they're going to keep fighting it, but it's really confusing what's going on with this one. And back in July, I don't think we ever talked about it. Out of Minnesota, the 8th Circuit ruled that they couldn't ban 18 to 20-year-olds from obtaining carry permits, which was good.
Yeah, they tried to do that here for a while. Then they passed some legislation. Well, they banned them from carrying entirely until they were 21. And then they changed it to where from 18 to 21, they were eligible to apply for a permit. That's the only way you can carry from 18 to 21. So constitutional carry doesn't apply until you're 21 here, but you can get a permit.
One of the little bit of reading I did before the chat, one of the big reasoning against allowing 18 to 20-year-olds is brain development. That's what your brain is not fully developed. I think it's until you're around your mid-20s. But so they're saying that younger folks are more apt to make rash decisions. The problem I have with that is if you're considered an adult at 18, then all your rights and privileges should be established when you reach 18. Otherwise, you're not an adult if you don't have those, whatever your adult rights are supposed to be. To me, you cannot parse out. You get this little bit of rights as an adult until you're more adult, then you get the rest of your rights.
And you go to all the trouble of permitting campus carry on this state, but yet the only people who could do it without a permit are basically college seniors.
Hillbilly said 18 to 20-year-olds can vote, join the service, then change that too. I agree. If you're not an adult until you're 21, then you shouldn't have the rights until you're 21. I'm not saying it should be changed that way, but if they're going to enforce it that way, then it should be, the line should be drawn here or there, not kind of here, kind of there.
I agree.
Otherwise, you kind of have to start saying, well, he's mature enough to have this right. He's not. You can't do that.
Yeah. How do you make that determination? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got to tell you, some kids are mature enough at 18. Some of them probably even at the age of 30 aren't there yet. So.
Yeah, I agree.
But they shouldn't be carrying baseball bats either. And they can do that.
Mr. Knives was out there. And Ozzy Osbourne. Well, excuse me. Pretty much, whatever the offensive object is, right now, guns are the big thing. If you remove those, it'll just become another offensive object, like England, it's knives. You need, they have everything that you hear said against guns in the US, you hear said against knives in the UK.
Yep.
So if you don't address the core problems, you're only dealing with symptoms, and that's not going to fix the problem. And that's a whole bigger argument.
Well, yeah, you've got a whole can of worms you just opened there. It's like, how do you determine? How do you treat?
Yeah. I don't know, Gary. How would you fix it? Make it better. Use your wisdom.
Yeah, I'm real wise. I mean, ideally, according to the Constitution, if you're an adult, you've got the God-given right for life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, be able to defend yourself, blah, 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 blah. So, you don't say, well, you're not quite old enough, blah, 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 blah. If you're an adult, you're an adult. If you do anything you shouldn't be doing, then perhaps you should be removed from society until you're no longer a threat to other people. But we don't do that, you see. If people do something violent, say in school or something like that, we slap them on arrest, expunge their records when they turn 18, and whatever happens after that. We don't have any decent type of mental assessment or treatment to speak of around here. It's just basically get them in for as little time as possible in our prison systems, if that even happens, and then costs too much to keep them, so let's just turn them loose.
Well, I think there's that's like you were saying, a can of worms. That's a big can of worms, and there's
I know.
kind of two issues in there. We'd have to go through, one being the prison system and the other being the court system. And there's each one has its own problems, and it probably won't get into right now.
Our views on rehabilitating prisoners, like if we put them in isolation for a while in a prison, they'll be fine as soon as they serve their 3 years. Well, I think you got to do more than that. You've got to do mental assessments and everything else. You got to do some treatment of these people. If you're gonna certify them ready to be back in society, you should be able to reasonably do that rather than just he served long enough, let him go.
Well, yeah. And then there's a problem with prisons for profits, where especially with privately run prisons. And that's, like we're saying, that's a whole other thing that I kind of don't want to get into right now.
And then the states, each individual state with their prisons, they're facing problems with funding, problems with staffing, not having enough facilities, and everything else. So it's like, well, even if we could do that, we can't do that because there's no place to put them, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of a monster that feeds upon itself after a while.
Yeah. Bubba Triclops Ballistics out there. Hopefully your move is going well. I saw that you're having some trouble, but hopefully you're getting there. Yeah, it's like an onion. You peel back one layer and there's another layer under it. And, how far do you have to? How far back do you have to go before you can fix it?
Is it a behavior problem? Is it a societal problem? Are we raising these kids wrong? Or are they getting the parenting they should have? The schooling, the direction they should have. Do we know where the issue is?
Well, nobody agrees on what the issue is,
That's just it.
and it might be everybody can be correct, and everybody could be wrong. It's rarely just one thing, and not everybody agrees on what to do, which is okay. It's good to have different opinions, but yeah, I don't know. Trying not to get too far into this because it's going to end up down a rabbit hole. And
Well, I had a boss one time had a sign outside his door and said basically, don't come to me with a problem unless you've got at least one solution. And it's like, I know more or less what the problem is, but I'm not sure what the solution is. I can't just pin one thing, fix this, and it all goes away. We got a lot of work to do.
yeah, I think so.
And contrary to popular belief, taking guns away doesn't solve the problem. It just makes people change their methods. If they're going to be violent, they're going to be violent. Whether they have to use guns, knives, cans of gasoline, sticks, rocks, they're going to do something they shouldn't do and hurt somebody.
Night Strike is out there. He said, I am always, me speaking, says Foss is always wrong unless Baron SVG is around. That's truer than you know.
I remember that guy. Didn't he invent the internet or something like that?
Oh, at least his chunk of the internet.
That's true.
So yeah, I don't have any great solution. I have my opinion, and it's just my opinion. I cannot attest to it being well thought out, but it's my opinion.
Did have everybody serve a mandatory stint in the Space Force for 4 years before they get their rights.
Yeah.
Teach them how to fly planes and stuff like that. Spaceships.
I don't know. I'm not for mandatory service. Just had a spider.
Oh no!
Jump out. So he's just passing through.
Must be moving quickly.
He did. He's hauling butt. Got somewhere to go, somewhere to be.
He's late for a very important date.
Yeah, I'm not for mandatory service. I can see there might be some benefits to it, but we have a voluntary system now. And that's part of
it's quasi-voluntary. Let's be real. A lot of the people who end up in the service basically were offered the choice of either that or probably going to prison. So.
Well, they don't do that anymore. Actually, some of the services, from what I hear, are very selective now. They won't take you if you've got too bad a history. It got to where back during the Obama administration, my brother-in-law was a Army recruiter, and he said they couldn't even take people with DUIs
Wow.
because of the rule changes under the Obama administration. I don't know where it's at now. I didn't keep up with it, but
Well, I'm too old to get in.
I am also too old.
That, and I'm pretty sure I couldn't pass a physical.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably borderline now. Yeah, when I
That's the,
tried to get free stuff from my brother-in-law, like shirts and mugs and stuff.
mhm.
But he said he would, and he never gave me any. Told him, yeah, I'll wear it around. Get me a shirt.
Yeah, and a hat too.
Oh, one thing I kind of been thinking about talking about, but it's not really 2A related. We kind of try to stick the 2A stuff on overnight, but since we don't really have a topic, when you see press releases for like not Judge Grady, but Sheriff Grady in Florida, and I don't know if you know who that is. But when law enforcement does press releases and shows pictures of people that were arrested and talk about the crimes, I kind of don't like that, because if you believe that innocent until proven guilty, by saying these people committed this crime, they have not been adjudicated in the courts, so they're suspected of committing that crime. But when they do the press releases and stuff, it's geared towards they committed this crime, and show
Not
pictures.
around here. Generally, they word it like allegedly, blah, blah, blah.
There's not every county, every police department does that, but it seems to be, I'm seeing it more, YouTube videos, and news stories where it's happening. So I don't know. It's just looking for other people's opinion on what they thought about that. I'm kind of against it. I guess it can be considered in the public interest, but it seems to butt up against innocent until proven guilty. What do you think, Gary?
I mean, I kind of got to agree with what you're saying there. If they don't at least offer some sort of caveat, all suspects are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, blah, blah, blah. Use language like that, then it's a little bit different deal. And most of the, like, local law enforcement Facebook post around here, that's usually the way they present it. So just to remind people that, this hasn't been a conviction, here's what they're being charged with. People don't always get convicted of what they're charged with. We know this.
Well, and if you look at like Richard Jewell,
I remember him.
He was accused of doing the bombings at the Olympics in Georgia. He was innocent, but he was kind of dragged through the court of public opinion, and it kind of ruined his life. And he was an innocent person.
Yep.
And, just the allegation of the crime can be enough, depending on what that was, to ruin your life. So I'm kind of against these cases being out, presented that way. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm still working on my opinion. Because, like I said, it's, there is a public interest on stuff like this, but when they're being judged publicly before the court cases happened, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like publishing all those details on social media anyway, where everybody can read that stuff. I realize it's freedom of information, blah blah blah. But yeah, there is a fine line there where if a person hasn't been convicted yet, you really shouldn't be putting all that stuff out there, at least with a name attached to it. It's one thing if you document the case, here's what happened. Somebody broke into XYZ store and took blah, blah, blah. But on the other hand, if you've got somebody who's suspected but hadn't been convicted, it's wrong to say, well, we've got the person who did it. We've got the person who's suspected of doing it. But
there was this a few years ago now. I can't remember what law enforcement agency, but had come out and said that if there's a crime committed and you have it like on your Ring doorbell or your security camera, don't share that on social media because it can skew their right to a fair trial.
yeah, I can see that.
Which I'm a little torn on that. I understand that, and I think that is a concern.
Well, it's going to be pretty hard to find anybody who's going to be an impartial juror at that point.
Ozzy said, when I was 18, military wasn't popular after Nam. The only people who joined was high school dropouts. The Saint said, convicted in the court of opinion, and mob justice comes next. Yeah, I'm not for mob justice. I am completely fine with people banding together to whether it's protest or to espouse an opinion, but when it goes farther than that, I'm not for that.
You ever have a cat sneeze right in your face? It's no fun.
Yes, when we had a cat, yeah.
It's like, gee, thanks, buddy.
Does George, has he ever licked you, like your hand or
Oh yeah,
your face, where it's, oh, that's cute, until you feel how rough that tongue is? It's, oh my God, sandpaper.
Yep. Oh yeah. There's certain beard oils that he likes. You gotta be careful because he wants to take your beard oil off your face. It's like, I didn't put that on there for you to eat it. thinks he's doing you a favor.
I don't know what else you want to talk about, Gary.
Well, I don't know. I'm guessing we don't have a bracket, nor do we have enough people to help us fill one out.
No, we don't have a bracket. I blew a fuse, and it uses the old timey glass screw-in fuses, and I'm having trouble finding the right size.
Just put a penny in there.
No, that's dangerous.
That's what they used to do back in the old days.
There's a fuse there for a reason, and if it blew, there's a reason it blew.
Might have been a bad fuse.
Uh,
It's only one way to find out.
yeah, when your house burns down.
Can you even buy those glass fuses anymore? Those screw-in ones?
It's been a long time since I've seen them.
I do remember them, though. And yeah, there was a lot of times people would stick pennies in those. And then there was the glass ones that came in your car, too, that you had to have a special tool to get them lined up on those two posts, and you push them in. Or do you even remember that?
Yeah, it was, I don't know, when the cars started switching to the blade style fuses, I was kind of like, well, why do you need to switch to these? They're a pain to use. They're hard to, the tube ones are easier to do.
Yeah, and they're not as easy to tell when they're blown either.
You can buy, I have used before ones that when they blow, they actually light up. There's like a circuit in it. And a little LED, so when it blows, it turns on.
Now that would be cool.
I don't know if that's even around anymore, but I know I have used them in the past.
Although I'll have to admit, I can't remember the last time I blew a fuse in a car.
Yeah, last time I did was I had an accessory that I added, and I had cut a wire, but it was energized, so it blew the fuse. Because I went to cut a wire, but I accidentally cut two, and then one was a hot wire.
Yeah, that never ends well. It'd been funny if your car would have started counting down 10, 9, 8.
I had added, it was on my Mitsubishi, and I added an LED, a red backlight to the Mitsubishi logo on the grill. So it looked really neat.
Well, LEDs don't consume that much power. When we used to add incandescent bulbs, a lot of times you could overload a circuit if you weren't careful.
Yeah, I added that and then added floorboard lighting, which I kind of miss. I don't know if my car now has it, but so there's always a little bit of lighting in the car, so it was never completely dark at night.
In the days when I was young, just about everybody got under their dash and hooked up their own stereo equipment and CB radios and stuff like that. There were people who were good at running the wires so you wouldn't hit them with your feet, and then there were others who weren't so good. Some people didn't solder, connections and stuff like that, or tape them up well and they'd short. So I was one of those guys who was really anal about that. I always took a solder iron with me and made sure everything was secure.
Yeah, I prefer soldering over wire nuts.
Yep. Now you can put a wire nut over the top of the solder if you want to.
Ozzy sent in a picture of another holster.
So you got a T-bone steak in there, or what?
No, I think that's his 2.0 M&P or Bodyguard 2.0.
Thought maybe it's a
Think that is
sandwich
it.
holster.
But I don't know. It's kind of he added. Looks like he put white on the belt loop holes, so it's got a little accent there.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah, kind of balances the color. Ozzy is getting more and more complex with his holster designs.
He is. He just needs to put his own logo on those things now.
That would, you could fit it right down. Right, you got a spot right down there.
Yeah, put the Howling Wolf and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Oh, definitely good enough where he could maybe start selling them on Etsy or something. Looks nice.
It does. We'll be able to say we knew him when. Back before he became a millionaire.
Oh, he said that the white, he's going to dye black after sanding.
Okay.
Gunmetal Guy USA and an X Adam 1. It's out there. Oh, yeah. I need you to solve the world's problems, Gary. Can you get on that?
I'll put it on my list of things to do. How about that?
Oh, what should we talk about? I don't know what to talk about.
I guess they got the Boeing Starliner returned back to Earth. I saw yesterday, I believe.
I don't. What's that? I don't know what that story is.
That's the ship that took the astronauts to the International Space Station and left them stranded up there for several months. So they're going to send SpaceX up to rescue them, but they had to get the ship they went up in, which wasn't working right. They had to undock it. And so Boeing sent instructions to it to automatically return to Earth without a crew. So they managed to return the ship, and it did land out in the desert in Texas. They did successfully return it. So,
Oh, yeah, I didn't know anything about that story.
I'm just glad they got enough food to eat up there. Otherwise, there'd be like a space donor party or something like that up there, and that it could be messy.
No one can hear you scream in space. Gunmetal Guy's asking if I got any range time on that Bushmaster. I haven't taken it out in a while. Last time was with my friend Kevin. It was a couple months ago. Yeah, I think a couple months ago. But every now and again, I do get it out. I do enjoy the 450 Bushmaster. I did pick up a Beretta today.
What kind of Beretta?
Oh, everybody's going to have to wait.
Because
I had to wait for the 10-day waiting period so that everybody's safe.
Well, dang.
But yeah, got it home and broke it down, looked at the insides, and then put it away. hopefully, I don't know, maybe next week, be able to take it out to the range. And then I need to get a plate for it so I can put a red dot on it. That's why I bought it, was to put the red dot on it.
What kind of red dot? You got one, Bob?
I got a Sig Romeo 0, the micro dot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They were on sale, and I think I bought it for half price. So I couldn't pass it up. But I bought it, and then it's like, well, I don't have a gun with a cut. So I had to buy a gun to put it on. I bought the Beretta APX A1 carry. Is what I got.
Fancy.
Because Palmetto State had them for $229, and Beretta had a $50 rebate. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's like I can't pass it up.
No, sounds like a pretty good deal if that's your thing, for sure.
So yeah, it's interesting. It's a single stack. It's kind of the grip is a little different feeling because it feels from front to back feels long, but it's a single stack, so it's skinny. Oh, it's interesting. A little bit of dry firing. It's pretty stable. Doesn't I don't move around too much, but we'll see once I get it out to the range, get some shots through it.
Yeah, then you can answer the eternal question: will it pew?
Ozzy said 9 months from now, first baby conceived in space. Vulcan Rumble is asking, any chance we could have a show about parts compatibility in Turkish shotguns? Probably a low probability of that. I don't have any Turkish shotguns, and I'm not versed on kind of shotguns in general. I'm not a shotgun guy.
We would need experts in the field on the panel.
That'd probably be a Clover Tack. He could maybe answer that kind of question.
Hillbilly might know a little bit.
Oh yeah, he has some experience that way.
Mm-hmm.
So save your questions next time Hillbilly's on the chat. Then you can ask him, and we can see if we can answer some of those questions. I'm not against shotguns. I just don't. I've only ever shot 2 shotguns, and they were the same model. So the Security 88.
Yeah, I like shotguns. It's just there's only so many places you can shoot them. It's not real cheap to do target shooting with a shotgun. But I do like them. I have several. Well, not several, but I've got a handful. We don't talk numbers in these chats, of course, but I have more than one and less than 100.
I would like to have a nice over and under, something that looked nice just to have, but it's low on the priority list.
I want a coach gun like we shot out there at Thunder on the Prairie last year. That was cool.
I didn't shoot the coach gun.
I liked it. That's the first time I ever shot one. It's like, I want this. Then I was told, that's mine. You can't have it. You were there. Right before you accused me of setting up the pins wrong, I believe.
Well, you did.
So you say.
Yes, I do say. And Dorothy agreed that you had done it wrong and had me shoot it again.
I didn't see any instructions posted.
She
put them where I
she
thought
said as you were walking out to set up the targets, she specifically said to set the pins on the paint marks, which you did not do.
I might not have heard her. There's that chance. Moo says, who's Dorothy? The lady in charge.
Yep, she's one of the co-owners of Nebraska Shooters, where the facility that Thunder on the Prairie happened. Mr. Bob said, I'm having trouble finding U.S.-made field shotgun. Even Winchesters are made in Turkey. I don't know who makes shotguns in the U.S.
Mossberg.
Uh, the first, I punched it into Google, American made field shotguns, and the first one comes up from Shotgun Forum, and it says American made shotguns. Those days are gone.
Really?
In 2022, approximately 662,350 shotguns were manufactured in the United States. Ooh. Uh-huh. Look at these ones. This is Connecticut Shotgun Manufacturing Company. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what Mr. Bob's looking for, but look at this one. And I don't know how much these ones cost. I'm guessing a lot.
More than $1 or $2. Yeah, the Mossberg 500, the 590, and the 590A1 are made in the United States. The Maverick is assembled in Eagle Pass, Texas, with some parts sourced from Mexico. But their tactical turkey is produced in Turkey. And their Gold Reserve Sporting over and under is manufactured by Con Arms in Turkey. So, depends on the gun.
Holy smokes. $18,000 to $23,000.
Hard pass.
There you go, Mr. Bob.
Yeah.
A custom American made shotgun.
If money's not an object.
For $23,000. They are pretty, though. Wood said the 500 is my favorite shotgun ever made. And Mr. Bob said, I won't tell anyone I won the lottery, but there will be signs.
Of course.
Wood said versatility, affordability, and rugged. I haven't shot my Security 88, which is basically a lot like the 500. You can put 500 parts on it. I haven't shot it a lot, but I've never had a problem with it. The Vulcan Rumble, Browning made the Turkish state arms industry. Most of the cheap auto loading seems to be Winchester designs. Woods, I'm happy with every Stoeger I've ever had. Mr. Bob said, I want something I can bird hunt or skeet shoot with. Mossberg, etc., are more tactical. And then Woods said the Coach, Condor, and M2000, I think, for Stoegers. Well, what else, Gary? What else do you want to talk about?
Well, we can't talk about space. Evidently, we don't know enough about shotguns.
Yeah.
Or the Ninth Circuit.
The Ninth Circuit is kind of interesting, where I've been watching their court cases lately. I've watched a lot of them on the YouTubes, and in general, I think they do a good job on their rulings, except for Second Amendment. They seem to adhere to the Constitution for everything else, but when it comes to gun cases, they're anti-gun. And I don't know about the other circuits. I know there are some circuits that are more 2A friendly than others, but the Ninth is what covers Washington, so that's the one that I've paid more attention to.
Which is probably why largely that area of the country is in the mess it's in.
Yeah, I would, recommend probably whatever circuit applies to everybody else. You can find videos on their rulings and stuff. It's interesting to watch, to see the process, and some of it can be kind of dry, especially when they're talking industrial kind of stuff. But just to learn about the process and how they view things and how the legal system works that way it's good to know, I think. Hillbilly said, make hunting with grenades for animal hunting legal. I don't know. Do you think is Hillbilly, does he dynamite fish? Do you think?
I don't know if he does currently. I suppose he may have. I don't I don't know. He's told me stories about relatives, or he's told me stories about people in his area dynamite fishing, but never anything personally about he himself doing it. And I don't want to speak for him. So
I don't. I don't think I've ever heard about anyone around here ever doing that. The closest would be 4th of July. There were some bikers that they throw dynamite out in the bay.
well, there's your answer. He says, "What's dynamite?" See, he doesn't even know what it is.
Uh,
So he couldn't possibly have done that.
Wood said crossbows should have a longer, better season. I've never shot a crossbow. I've touched one, but never shot one.
Well, Obnoxious One has one that he's hunting with for the first time this year, so should be able to hear some stories.
I shot myself.
Oh, that's mean.
Two Live Moo. Woods is correct. Love my 3500. Geese and ducks may disagree. I think they're back talking about the Stogers. Woods, I definitely in the late 80s. I definitely never fished with M80s. Volko Rumble's asking, can anyone look at the trigger groups and recognize parts compatibility?
Not I.
That could probably happen. It just probably won't happen tonight.
Our experts didn't show up. It's just Foss and I.
Yeah.
We're the B team or possibly the C team.
Yeah, pretty much they let anyone on this platform. So
That's what I hear.
well, I have a question for you, Gary.
Yes.
I'm gonna go meet friends for lunch. We've been doing basically quarterly, old high school friends meeting for lunch, and I can't decide should I take my TH40, my not Ruger, Taurus TH40,
Yeah.
which I bought that to carry, or should I take my Kimber 1911? Can't decide which one I should take with me.
Are you wanting to impress these people or?
No, it'll be under, it'll be concealed either way. The Kimber, it is outside the waistband, but I'll have a shirt and a cover shirt over that.
But it's probably, I'm sure it's lower capacity, right?
8 rounds.
Mm-hmm. As
And
opposed to what in the TH40?
TH 10 rounds.
Not a whole lot of difference.
No.
Mm-hmm. Can't go wrong either way. If you want to look snazzy, take the 1911. But you're going to be carrying concealed, so I guess it don't matter.
Yeah.
You're not going to a barbecue.
No.
So whatever's more comfortable for you to carry. Which do you shoot better?
I can shoot either equally bad. So it's the same either way.
Oddly says it depends on holster.
Yeah, somebody did make a. I think I got it right here. Somebody sent me a holster.
Well, there's
Just-
your answer.
Just for the Kimber. Hillbilly said barbecue gun for sure, 1911.
Another vote for the 1911.
I've never carried either yet, so I just wasn't sure which one I should take. I would show them both, but then our stream would get taken down.
And the question is, if you take the 1911, in what condition are you going to carry it?
Well, it would have to be cocked and locked. I can never remember which condition is which. What condition my condition's in.
Cocked and locked with safety on?
Yeah. That's the way you're supposed to.
I think that's condition 1. Yeah, that's the authentic way to do it. I know it makes some people nervous, but then again, it's concealed, so.
Well, it's with the grip safety, it's not going to go off. And the safety on, so you're doubly safe. Hillbilly said tighten the belt up a little with the 1911. Vulcan Rumble said barbecue gun equals MP5K clone.
That's another way to do it,
Wood said choose the revolver we shot. Go 38 special. I would go 357. Well, when I carry my Taurus, which I think, I've got my Taurus holster here.
Are you going to carry it with 357s?
Yeah, when I carry it with 357. Taurus 65 with the fancy grips. That's the one I carry, even though it's a Taurus. It's the one I carry when I want to be fancy because it's got my Danger Mouse logo on them.
Ozzy said he sent you a picture.
Oop. There, just got it. Oh yeah. That is a picture of my Kimber.
Mm-hmm.
Although those grips broke the first time I shot the gun. Both sides cracked. So it was cool while it lasted. I still need. I've got another pair of maple, light colored maple grips that I want to have engraved. But I don't know if it was just like old stock, so it was faux ivory, so maybe they were brittle.
Still shouldn't break like that.
Because I took it out with a friend. We were going to shoot it, and I shot it first, and the grips crumbled. I'm like, okay, I guess you're not shooting this. Sorry.
I know this is a silly question to ask, but you didn't over tighten the grip screws, did you?
I might have.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to rule out user error.
Probably on something like that, you'd be a little bit better off to just use some thread lock on the threads and go with a fairly low torque so you don't stand as much of a chance of cracking it.
Yeah, so right now I've got the rubber grips back on, which are comfortable. but just disappointing because I really like those grips, and that one side was a rabbit that was for my wife, and then the other side's a boar, which is my kind of alternate logo boar. That was
Mm-hmm.
me.
You could always go to Lock Grips and see if they could create you something custom in some nice aluminum.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've got a set of those maple grips that I was gonna find somebody locally to do it. I just have never gotten around to finding somebody to do it. Hillbilly said definitely 357 revolver. Then didn't know that was an option. And Woods said 357 is the best round. I said what I said. And Moo said Foss has those hog cranking strength to break those grips. Like I said, that is a possibility that I over tighten them. I have a habit. My wife gets mad at me because I will over tighten lids on stuff so she can't open them. The milk or juice. And I'm not trying to tighten it as tight as I can. I'm just tightening it.
Hillbilly's got a good suggestion for you.
Oh, Brownworks.
Brownworks. They do some nice custom grips.
Yeah, I've been wanting to maybe order something from them, just to order something from them. So I might have to. What I really want to do, 1911 wise, is I want to build 2 stainless matching 1911s. But I want to build them. You buy the frame and all the parts, so that I can have them serialized with the custom serial numbers. But in Washington, they've got a ghost gun law.
Oh no!
So I can't do that. So I'm hoping there may be a Supreme Court rule on that where I can do that. Because I want to do custom serial numbers, one for each kid. Have it. And then matching stainless 1911s. I thought would be cool, which I should have done back before the law went into effect. Barron told me, hey, when I was talking about 1911s, he sent me links for different companies with frames. He said, build one. And I'm like, I don't want to build one. I should have built them.
Yep.
Yeah, what's that stupid tyranny? Hillbilly said he has Brown's information if I need it. It's like on the list, but there's there's a lot of things on my list of things to do. I bought, when we bought this house, it had all the fixtures were kind of the brass color, the yellow, goldish yellow. And I went through and then we changed everything, all the doorknobs to silver. And I bought a set of door stops, the springy door stops that were silver, so I could change out those too. I bought those probably 5 years ago and have never gotten around to actually doing it. Every time I see them, the bag, it's like, oh yeah, I was working on that. I forgot.
I'm surprised the boss doesn't have that pretty high up on your list.
Nah, she didn't care either way. Yeah, I changed all the doorknobs from the round ones to the lever style. I like the lever style a little more. Changed them to silver. Changed light fixtures. Went through the house. Part of that was I changed them, I had the old style boob lights on the ceilings. Changed those out for LED ones. And then that allowed me to change the color. When I took all the fixtures down, I took them to God, what's the place that does the not Habitat for Humanity, but they take household fixtures. So if you can't afford it, you can get them for cheap. You can donate to them, and I can't think of the name of them, but they wouldn't even take the brass color stuff. So I ended up and they said, well, try Goodwill. Goodwill wouldn't take them. So I ended up having to throw them all away, and they were perfectly good. They were all in great shape. They looked good. They were just out of fashion. So nobody would take them. Hillbilly said, best way to get that done is to set them where you see them every day, and eventually you will get tired of looking at the bag. The thing is, they do sit where I can see them every day, but I get object blindness where even though it's there, I don't notice it that it's there. Because it sits next to where I keep my wallet and stuff. But I don't notice it. And Moo wants me to take my shirt off. No,
I
it's probably not
saw
gonna
that.
happen.
We could have
Maybe
the
20
audience-
years ago, but not today. There's a little extra, little sagging going on. Yeah, with the doorstops, the reason that I'll remember it is there's one room where the doorstop, it's missing the little rubber piece. When I go in the room and close the door, I'll notice that it's missing the door. And then I'll remember, oh, I haven't changed out the doorstop. And then immediately forget that I was thinking about doorstops.
So the springy doorstop.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't have the rubber piece on there, it could poke a hole in your wall.
Well, it's connected to the wall, not the door. So it'll
So it could
scratch
put a
up
hole
the
in the
door.
door.
Yeah.
Unless you have a panel on the door itself that interfaces with it.
No.
You could always take a piece of gum and stick on the end of it. Wait for it to harden a little bit. Might work.
Does your gum go stale on the bedpost overnight?
Not mine. Of course, I haven't chewed gum in a number of years.
I guess it would be pepperonis, not pie plates. Well, I think we're descending into madness here.
You think so? It's amazing how that happens when you ramble.
Yeah. So, Mr. Gary, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Gizzard Gary, is there
Yes,
anything
sir.
you'd like to plug? Tell us about yourself.
Well, let's see. I'm an Aquarius. I like long walks on the beach. Oh, you didn't want to hear that.
You're in the
I was-
age of Aquarius?
I am. Yes. I've got members only chat on Wednesday for my channel members. That's why that's called a members only chat. It's just not a cute title. It actually is functional. That's at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time Zone, the only time zone that matters. And of course, Foul Territory, Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time Zone, where we give away stuff and things and show Gorn, have some Aegis gun care, and talk about cool stuff. So, anyway, thanks for having me.
Larry Knopf is just in time to say goodnight.
Yeah, you know it's time to end the show when he shows.
Well, he gets off work late, so
Right.
he probably just got home. Oh, well, if you watch this replay, leave a comment. I command you, leave a comment. Anything we talked about, agree with, disagree with. I couldn't even tell you what we talked about tonight. Let me know. I always read the comments, and I do. I honestly do really appreciate them. Thank you to those that were in the live chat. And if you were watching and didn't say anything, I appreciate you too. Don't be afraid to say hi. Vulcan Rumble said there's a gun show on the 22nd.
And the 33rd.
And the 33rd.
Yeah.
Marlborough, Massachusetts, there's a gun show. So if you're in the area, head on down. So next chat is Wednesday. It'll be a mouse party. And other than that, hope everybody has a good rest of the night and go do something good.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.